Good morning aboard the Disney Fantasy. It is Disney Cruise Day 6, otherwise known as Disembarkation Day. The sad day. Can you tell it's a sad day? I'm not very happy, right? But it's still a good morning all the same. And, we're doing some last minute packing of things, putting away things that we needed last night, like toiletries. And we find ourselves already at Port Canaveral this morning. When we came in on the Disney Wonder a couple of months ago, when we woke up, we actually were coming into port, but Amy said that when she got up, she was the first of us to get up, that we were already sitting here, so they must have gotten here quite a bit earlier than the Wonder pulled into San Diego. But here we are, sitting at the port, and we have one final thing to do this morning, and that's get some breakfast. Now let's talk about the disembarkation process here for a moment. There are two ways that you can disembark the ship. For those of you who are longtime cruisers, you probably already know this, of course, but for those of you who have never cruised or are just kind of getting your feet wet with this, I want to quickly go over it, so not to bore the people who are familiar with it. There are two ways to get off the ship. There is express walk-off, which means you take everything off yourself, and then there is the other process where you take these luggage tags that they give you, you put them on your luggage, and you put your luggage in the hallway the night before. We obviously did not do that. That's where you take your luggage and you put it outside your stateroom door by 10 p.m. and they are actually going to collect your luggage. They're going to put it in the port for you, and that means that this morning you don't have to walk around the ship with your luggage. That is probably the more preferable process if you have a lot of time. However, we are trying to get to North Carolina to see my cousin as early as possible today, so that we can spend more time with them, because we're just spending a single night with them. It is an 8.5 hour drive to their house, and so the sooner that we get off the ship, the sooner that we get a rental car, the sooner we get going. So we thought we would do express walk-off, which means we did not do anything with these luggage tags. But when we were coming back from the Disney Wonder in San Diego, we absolutely did those luggage tags. So if you want to see the process, you can go and check out our Disney Wonder series, and we show and walk through everything to do with that. But because we did not do the luggage tag walk-off, it means that all of our stuff is still here in the room with us. So I checked yesterday or the day before, and we do not have to have this stuff out of the room until 8 a.m. Now, it is about 6:30 in the morning. So what that means for us is we could head up to Cabanas, which is open from 6:30 to 8:30, I think they said. 6:30 to 8:30. They want everybody off the ship by 9, I believe, was everybody off the ship by then. But Cabanas is open 6:30 to 8:30. If we had done our regular dining room, which the main dining room is still open, but it uses the same two meal sequences. The second dining for main dining room breakfast was 8 a.m., which was just too late for us when express walk-off begins at 7:30 a.m. We wanted to be able to just walk off the ship at 7:30. So we're going to do Cabanas at 6:30 for breakfast. We can leave all of our stuff in the room. We don't have to cart it with us. If we had been going to the main dining room, we would need to take all of these suitcases to the main dining room with us, and there's a spot outside the main dining room where everybody kind of lines up their suitcases and they leave them in the hallway. I don't really like that. It's another reason why we're not going to go to the main dining room. We would have put our luggage with them to take it to the port if we were doing the main dining room. So that's just kind of a quick overview of everything. We're going to get some breakfast at Cabanas. We're going to come back down to the room, do last minute touch-ups, grab all our suitcases, and go do express walk-off at 7:30. So let's get going. Anytime that we've gone from our stateroom to Cabanas this trip, we have been taking the elevators because 2 to 11 has just been a lot. But if we've come from any other deck, we'll hop it up there. There have been times where we've been on deck 5 to drop off Benjamin at Kids Care, and we've just walked up to deck 11 from there. That was fine, but from 2 to 11 is just a bit far. Morning shot of the deck. Everything all packed up. said the starboard side of Cabanas is open. They don't have both sides open. Not a lot of people up and about at the moment. Cabanas just opened like 5 minutes ago. Some people grabbing some food to just go. Going in, grabbing it, taking it back to the stateroom. That's something that, you know, people are going to do. Amy actually almost considered doing that this morning. The kids didn't really want to get out of bed. I mean, they did eventually. We're used to it. We go to Disneyland and wake up at 5:30 in the morning, and it's 6:30. So, you know, they're definitely used to it. But she was thinking about grabbing stuff from up here and just taking it back to our room as well. Good morning. Thank you. Sad day. They have no Mickey waffles on Disembarkation Day. I guess they're just a little too extra. They're trying to be as simple as possible. But I got chocolate chip muffin, chocolate chip pancakes, a sausage link, and some fruit here. James just grabbed some Fruit Loops. And they did have eggs, hash browns, bacon, a couple other things, but Mickey waffles is what I like the most. It looks so sad with everything all buttoned up. Now we're gonna head back down to our stateroom for last minute. I don't know why this door won't automatically open today. And since Benjamin and Amy have brought a drink out, we won't do our normal thing of going down the stairs. We do go down from 11 to 2 all the time. I don't remember what time the first breakfast is, but I think it's 6:45 in the morning. It's 7 right now, and we saw a whole bunch of people in Enchanted Garden, but they weren't there whenever we went up to Cabanas. At 7:20 in the morning, all our luggage is gathered, and we are headed up to deck 3 to get in line for express walk-off. As I mentioned earlier, if you are express walking off with your own luggage and you go to the main dining room, you will have to leave your luggage outside the restaurant. Here's what express walk-off looks like on the Fantasy. 3 separate lines, and it's 7:20, and I think people are already exiting the ship, so they opened up a little early. That's kind of been a theme for this trip. The Fantasy has done everything early. I don't remember the Wonder doing anything early. It was always on time.
The Fantasy has its own terminal, so I wonder if that has to do with it. It's a Disney-owned terminal, whereas the Wonder had to go through San Diego.
Possible. Debarkation. Getting off the ship. That was really quick and painless, though, let me tell you. I didn't think it would be that fast. We did not do express walk-off before. So if you were to have dropped off your luggage the night before, they have the luggage ready here, but they won't start calling luggage tags for a little while. Remember, we were green Tinkerbell, so there's a line all the way down at the right. There's gray Daisy right here, but we just need to go to the exit through customs section. Now, if you had some confiscated items that weren't allowed to go on the ship, they will end up on the left here. Once you get on the other side of customs, there's going to be signs to go 2 different ways. Disney transfers to the left, but there's a little barrier here, and then parking, garage, and other transportation to the right. Well, since we can't go left, we'll have to figure out, because we need to go towards rental cars. There was still just turning left. We just had to go through a different door. So we are going to the rental car shuttle, and they said to follow the yellow line for rental car shuttles. So if we were going to the airport or Walt Disney World Resort, there's different colored lines on the ground for different colored things. Here's Avis. We need the Avis line. So we are going to go into the Avis line. It's very windy out here this morning. They're getting ready for a rainstorm. We brought our umbrellas, but very, very, very windy. So we're just standing in line here. We're at the spot waiting for Avis. He just put this belt across. This was open a minute ago. But we're waiting for the Avis bus, I guess, to come and take us. If you had Alamo, National, or Enterprise, there is a separate line for that. But looks like we are first in line for Avis. And there's my mom, who is getting on the... Boys, go under, go under, go under. Give her hugs, give her hugs. She's getting on the bus to head to the airport. So she has Disney transfer to the airport. And so they do that right here too. Just providing an update for you. It is 7:59 in the morning. We have been here for now 30 minutes, and Avis has not come to pick us up at all. The first rental car shuttle has arrived that we've seen the entire time we've been standing here. It was budget and it just arrived. The Avis place doesn't even open till 8, so I'm hoping that they will come soon. It is starting to get a little heavier with rain, and the wind is making it so that even under this covered walkway here, we're getting pretty wet. Avis has just arrived at 8:01 in the morning, so right after they opened, they have arrived. Look where we are! A couple of you have been asking about this. We are gonna, I know this is a big time jump. We're gonna continue talking about what just happened in a minute, how we got to here, but we're gonna go in and go to Buc-ee's first. I have not been in a Buc-ee's in forever, but it's like being at Costco at the gas station. This place is huge. It's like, look at the Buc-ee's stuff. Beaver nuggets. Oh, burritos, breakfast burritos and stuff. Oh, look at the fudge. Ooh, mint chocolate fudge. I think I gotta get me some mint chocolate fudge. They got some other stuff too though. Oh, like they got cookies and cream fudge. Look at all the jerky, wow. And they got it bagged on the wall too. Looks like they also have fudge variety packs. I grabbed 1 cube of mint chocolate and 1 cube of cookies and cream, but they got variety packs too. Pretty cool. How's that biscuit, Benjamin?
Right.
Yeah? How was your egg bagel thing, James? Good? All right, so Amy is driving right now. We are actually about an hour down the road from Port Canaveral. I just want to walk you through everything because it all happened very fast and it was rainy, so we weren't trying to film anything. The Avis shuttle picked us up. There were us and one other family. The entire half an hour we were standing there, just us and one other family. We start to pull away, and one of the Disney cast members comes up and waves and says, "Hey, can you take one more family?" And we had 3 seats and they had 3 of them. So she had to go back around, back in again, and we were able to pick them up. And I don't know what time we got to the rental terminal, but I do know that we were pulling away from the rental car place at 8:30 in the morning. So from the time that we left the cruise ship to the time that we were in our rental car pulling away was an hour. That was just because Avis didn't even open until 8 o'clock. And then we had to load everybody up, and their place is about 4 miles down the road, so it's not like super close. It took about 10 minutes to get there. And the actual process of getting the rental car did not take very long. Since we were the first people in line, the other people there said that we could go first at the counter, but I pre-checked in online, so it was very simple. I just handed in my driver's license and credit card. He handed me keys, and I had to sign something, but literally, like, I was less than maybe 3 minutes. It wasn't long. There was nobody else there. It was a very small little counter, very small, like, if you've ever been to a like car repair place that has barely enough room for like 3 chairs on the inside, yeah, that's kind of what this place felt like. Very small type thing, but they had lots of vehicles, and thankfully I'd read some things online about they could run out of cars because they anticipate people dropping cars off when they go to the cruises, but if they're not going to the cruise terminal until 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and you are picking up at 8 in the morning, people were saying there are some issues where they might not have cars. They had plenty of cars when we were there, but our shuttle driver told us it was a slow cruise day. It was a Wednesday. I think the Fantasy might have been the only cruise ship in port. If it had been maybe a Friday or a Monday, one of the busier cruise days, then they might have more people at the station. But she also made it sound like they would have more shuttle drivers and more people working at the office. So it's really hard to say what your experience might be. I read some horror stories online about the long lines and it taking forever to get cars. That was not our experience. We got a car very quickly. There was hardly anybody else in line. Again, we stood there for a half an hour of people getting off the ship, and there were loads of people taking the Disney transport, but nobody except for just the 3 families in a half an hour. going to Avis. We only saw one family going to Budget and nobody going anywhere else. So rental cars, you know, that was our experience with it. I think I said it, but we're headed to North Carolina right now to go see my cousin, and then we're going to continue on to Washington, D.C. We will film D.C. It should be on the San Diego channel, and then we're going to Pennsylvania to visit some more of my family. But while we are here in the rental car, though, I do want to talk about our experience, and Amy, feel free to chime in from over there. Things that we want to compare the Wonder to the Fantasy on, things that we learned from our second Disney cruise, mistakes that we still made. I want to like kind of go over all of this. So we're just going to be, this is a chat heavy session. And if you are interested in information, this will be for you. If you're interested in experience, like seeing things, we're not doing any more of that. So you guys can feel free to bow out if you want to. But we are going to recap some things. I want to start off with the differences between the Fantasy and the Wonder and what we liked about both ships. So I'm going to start with the low decks and work to the high decks. We were on deck 2 for both ships, so I can't really speak to the differences of being on a different deck yet. We're eventually going to be on deck 6 on the Wish a year from now, a little over a year from now. We have one booked for that. But deck 2 is all that we were on this one. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, but I feel like our stateroom felt tighter and smaller than on the Wonder. Quick interjection from the editing room here, aka my couch. One of you guys actually told me, and I looked this up afterwards, the Wonder is larger, about 10 square feet larger for the same, actually a smaller room type. We had a Category 9C, which isn't as good as a Category 9B. Category 9B is what we had on the Fantasy, and the room ended up being 10 square feet smaller. The difference between the Wonder and the Fantasy is just in how they constructed the ship. The Wonder and the Magic were designed as more of a classic cruise experience, and when they made the Dream and the Fantasy, they tried to maximize their space. So the hallways were narrower, the rooms were slightly tighter. Comparatively, a 9B is larger than a 9C on the Fantasy, but a 9C on the Wonder ended up being larger than a 9B on the Fantasy. The more you know. I just felt like the hallway was narrower, and the door, like opening the door to get in, I had to like squeeze and like shove in every time.
That part was narrower.
Yeah, the doorway to get in was narrower, at least if nothing else. Our porthole was bigger though, was it not?
Yeah.
Our porthole was bigger.
We had a seat, which was really fun.
I did like the positioning of our room this time. I mean, I liked the positioning of our room last time. They were right by stairs. Some people online complained about noise from Enchanted Garden or noise from the elevators. I didn't really hear any of that, did you? And no issues, yeah. No issues with noise. So I thought that where we were was great. No complaints. Decks 3 through 5, I found to be a little confusing at first. We got the hang of it, but I felt like the Wonder was simpler navigation, a little bit more straightforward. There's a lot more dead ends, I feel like, on this one. But we figured it out in the end, just a bit more complicated. The atrium was much larger. I remember with the Wonder, when we went to do Jack's Diaper Dash, there were so many people. It was so crowded, and I think it was just because there was less space. But on the Fantasy, there was, like, people were way more spread out, and there was just more room to do stuff like that. Chip It Golf, Jack's Diaper Dash. Even when we had to do the deck party down in the atrium, I didn't feel like it was all that crowded because the atrium was larger. So plus to the Fantasy for a larger atrium there. And then, of course, decks 6 through 10 are going to be sleeping decks. So let's go talk about deck 11. Amy also made a comment about it being wider up there as well, so more space for deck parties, and it felt like a little less claustrophobic, a little less crowded because of some wider spaces up there. I liked Flo's, I think, a little bit better than the system that we had on the Wonder as far as extra food goes. There was just more choices.
Isn't that brand new? Wasn't that
Flows?
Yeah, I thought the whole Flows added thing, or maybe they just added the cantina. I don't know. I thought that was the whole like remodel of the dry dock thing that they just did in October.
Maybe, and if so, I loved Flows. The food there was phenomenal. It was pretty great. I loved that the ice cream had like 3 times as many ice cream machines, or I guess maybe 2 times. Because I think I only had 2 on the Wonder, and we had 4 here on the Fantasy. That was nice. I liked that they had 2 special flavors of the day instead of just 1. The Wonder only had 1 special flavor of the day. So overall, the ice cream was definitely better here. Sweet on You. Oh man, I loved the Sweet on You. The gelato, the milkshakes. Obviously, they were paid, but they were phenomenal stuff. So overall, like the food options, I feel like the food on the Fantasy was a lot better than on the Wonder as far as those extras go. Now, main dining rooms, Pirate Night was my favorite menu. Just looking back, out of all 5 days, Pirate Night was my favorite menu. I think Amy would say the same, right?
That or Royal Court was pretty good.
Royal Court?
I think. Or was it the one before that?
Royal Court was where we were for Pirate Night. So it would have been the day before. It would have been both Royal Court days.
Then it may have been the one before that, which was...
Enchanted Garden?
I don't know.
She doesn't remember. I thought that the Pirate Night menu was the best. We'd heard, again, complaints online about Pirate Night, people saying, oh, the Pirate Night menu isn't great. That was my favorite menu. I loved Pirate Night. I still have really good memories of Tiana's place, though, on the Wonder, being my favorite food there, too. So, Animator's Palette, the menu that we had the first day of Animators on the Wonder, matched the second day of Animators on... the Fantasy, and then the Enchanted Garden day matched, or no, it was Royal Court. The first Royal Court day matched Triton's. So they did have a couple of overlapping menus there, and overall, though, overall food on the Fantasy was better than on the Wonder. I would say, just as a blanket statement, food on the Fantasy was better than on the Wonder. The Wonder was easier to navigate. The Wonder was a little bit more homey. It felt like home. But the Fantasy definitely has better food and more space. So they each have their own... Oh, and the Aqueduct. Gotta love the Aqueduct. That was fun. Lesson learned towards the end. I don't know if we shared it or talked about it a whole lot yesterday, but it was an observation. Nobody was using the Aqueduct on our day at sea. And we think it's because it was the last day and nobody wanted to get their swimsuits wet before having to pack, or maybe they already packed their swimsuits. The Aqueduct was like a 10-minute wait. It was a 10-minute wait most of that day, and we waited 30 minutes on lookout day, and we came back to the ship at like 2 o'clock, and the all aboard wasn't until 4:45. So there was still another 2.5 hours of beach time, and everybody loves the beach. And the Aqueduct was a 30-minute wait. So we were surprised that the day at sea it was shorter, but probably for the same reason as us. We didn't want to get our swimsuits wet. So that is maybe something to keep in mind, think about in the back of your mind. If you want the Aqueduct, the final day, if it's a day at sea, might be the best bet for you. Any other thoughts that you have, Amy?
I did notice the Wonder, I mean, it may have been just our cruise, had the like hot cocoa machines. If hot cocoa is important to you, they still had hot cocoa in the Fantasy, but you had to get a packet and make it yourself with hot water. Whereas the Wonder had like the pre-made
machine that would just spit out hot cocoa.
Also, the Wonder I felt like was a little bit easier for getting drinks because they had the soda machines right next to the hot drink machines.
Yeah.
Just because it was a smaller space, whereas like on the Fantasy, you had to go around to like a different station. So if you wanted a lid for your cup, you had to go around to the hot station to get a lid.
I also, and on that note, all the drink stations were in the middle of the deck, and on the Wonder, they were at the ends of the deck, like right by the stairwells. So it was easy to just go up the stairwell, get a drink, and go right back to your room. But this one, you had to like wander to the middle of the deck. So it was a little like more inconveniently placed, but they had the food at the ends of the ship. They had flows right outside midship stairs, and they had cabanas in the aft stairs. We didn't use the front stairs all that much because the front was a adults only area, and we actually didn't go into the adults only pool area at all the entire trip. If we were doing adults only things, it was usually like, you saw trivia, so we didn't really go hang out at the pool. James is pretty much attached to us the whole time anyway. He didn't really like Edge. He didn't like Edge on the Wonder either. He didn't want to go. We sent him a couple of times. He would be there for 15 minutes, and he was like, I was bored, so I left. Benjamin loved Oceaneers. That was, he was there all the time, but because we had James a lot of the time, we didn't, go and hang out in the adults only areas as much as we otherwise could have. So didn't go into the front of the ship all that much, but midship to aft, we were, between that area a lot. Anything else? Now, mistakes that we still made. Second cruise, and we still made some mistakes. Just to recap them. Do not open food on the airplane. Do not. Unless it's individually packaged. My mother had a bag of York peppermint patties, and each individual York peppermint patty was factory sealed. So that was fine. We also noticed we got a pixie dust from some people in our fish extenders throughout the trip that they handed out Andy's mints, but instead of the ones that are in the foil wrapper, like the one that you fold over, this was a individually packaged one that you had to break the seal. So those seem to be the way to go if you want to bring snacks. Don't get the big, huge, variety bags that are like 1 pound bags, because you pop the seal and then everything is just loose in the bag. We had to toss all that stuff. Amy had Sour Patch Kids. She could have bought them where there was a big bag with like 15 individually packaged bags, but instead she bought the pound, cheap bag, value bag, and had to toss the whole thing. I had a big thing of peanut M&Ms from Costco that I put in individual little sandwich baggies for eating on the plane, and I didn't go through all of them on the plane, and I had to toss those because they weren't factory sealed. Everything has to be factory sealed to get on the ship, and we just thought it would be like an airplane. I can take stuff in a Ziploc bag on an airplane, but not so for the ship. So that was something that we were not anticipating, and that was a mistake that we still made even yet. Port adventures. I felt like we made major mistakes on port adventures. We only booked 2, but I wasn't really happy with either one of them. I liked the sea portion that we did at Nassau. That was fun, going out on the catamaran. But the land portion was very disappointing. And then on Castaway, I was just really bummed that the snorkels didn't work out for anybody in our family. I know that that's probably an us issue. Many people go snorkeling and have lots of fun. But we didn't use the snorkel, like we couldn't do the snorkel very well. And then we ended up not using the tube and the bicycle, and we did get refunded, so I'm happy about that. But like, I just felt like we made wrong choices. Maybe we need to do more port adventure research. It's just really hard to research port adventures because people do port adventures, but they do them just like we did, where it's not a dedicated video about the port adventure. So it's really hard to just Google a video about this port adventure or that port adventure. You have to like watch somebody's trip and scan through their whole video to see if they did a port adventure. And it's a lot harder to do port adventure research and like see how people did things. And there's so many of them too. There's like 40 to 50 port adventures at each stop. How am I supposed to know which one to do? That's the hard part. So port adventures wasn't a great experience for us overall, the whole port adventure experience. We'll try to maybe do a little bit better job with port adventures on the next one. Next, let's talk about dinners. So on our first cruise on the Wonder, we had early dinner at 5:45, and on this one we had late dinner at 8:15. So the early dinner had the plus of you go to dinner, you have a little bit of time to kill. We usually went shopping, and then we went to the show. And then after the show, it was about 9:30, and we would just, go get ready for bed. We'd go back to the room, and everybody was in bed by, I don't know, maybe 10:30. That sort of thing. Amy and I might go back out for a little walk. We would go get a drink up on deck 9, which is the pool deck on the Wonder. And, then we'd go back into the room maybe 15, 20 minutes later, and then we'd go to bed. And here on the Fantasy, we had our show at 6 o'clock, and then afterwards we had this big brick of time, like a bigger brick of time than when we were on the Wonder, because we'd always go to the show 30 minutes ahead of time. So if dinner ended at 7, dinner ended at like 7:15. The show was at 8:30, I think it was. So we had 45 minutes to go kill, and that's when we would do shopping and stuff like that, and then we would get in the show a half an hour early. But this one, we would get in the show at 5:30. Show was at 6. Show would end at 7, and then dinner was at 8:15. We had an hour and 15 minutes to kill. So if we had more time to kill, and I feel like we just went back to the room and did nothing for the most part. One of the days, I think we went and did trivias. I think we had enough time to go and do trivia, so that was nice. That we had a little bit longer of a time to go do some things if we wanted to. And then dinner was from 8:15 to 9:30. And the one thing that was nice about the late dinner was that the kids club picked up Benjamin to take him to kids club, so that he didn't have to sit there the whole way through dinner if he was getting bored or whatnot. Where they wouldn't do that on the early dinner, I don't think. I think they only do that on late dinner. Then after dinner, though, we felt so full, we made a habit of going on the walking deck this time. We went on the walking deck for a bit, and then we went and did late night trivias at 10 o'clock. So we did things a little differently this time. Amy, which method do you prefer?
I mean, early dinner was nice because you ate earlier, but I did like that we went walking more with this one because we did go on the walking track.
And we could have, probably gone on the walking track between shows.
The next time, we go on the Wonder or the Magic to see if their whole walking track is open. For some reason, ours wasn't full circle.
Yeah, that's a good point. The walking deck on the Wonder, for some reason, the aft was completely blocked off. And we theorized it might have been because that's where the restaurant was, and they didn't, they were doing stuff with the restaurant. I don't know. But we couldn't do the full walking loop on the Wonder, which was annoying. I think it was just for repairs, though. They might have been doing maintenance, and that could be why. We noticed a lot of maintenance between painting and cleaning, and when we were on the Wonder, they actually had kicked us out of our staterooms for 3 hours, the entire hall. They have to do maintenance while people were on the ship, because people are only off the ship for 3 hours, and during that time the housekeeping people are mad dash cleaning to get ready for the next group. Otherwise, there's people on the ship constantly, so they have to do maintenance while everyone is there. It's just a fact of life. So it's possible the walking deck was just closed when we were there. Huh? It was a much older ship.
I noticed we had no creaking.
No creaking this time? Yeah, you're right. I remember banging type noises.
There was lots of banging and creaking on the Wonder.
On the Wonder. Yeah, I didn't notice any of that on this one, so definitely, you got those aspects of it too.
Last night. You know what was up with that?
I didn't hear any noise last night.
Did you hear all that?
No, I didn't hear any noise.
What Benjamin was all going on about. It sounded like they were moving something or vacuuming something. It was really loud outside our door.
I didn't hear anything, but in any case, yeah, I think I preferred early dinner, just because I'd like to get dinner out of the way first. I'd like my food to be able to settle. I'd like my body to be able to flush all those liquids out before I go to bed, and this is probably just a me problem, but I drink 2-3 glasses of water and 2-3 glasses of Coke Zero at every meal, and that's a lot of liquid. You can imagine what that does for me in the middle of the night when I, have to go use the restroom because all the liquids. And it would have been nice if I had a couple hours to flush that out of my system before going to bed. I will say that. So early dinner would be better, but our kids didn't have any problem with it. We thought that they might. Kids did not have a problem with late dinner. It was not an issue at their age. We just made sure to grab them first to dinner at 5 o'clock from Flo's, be it a piece of pizza or 2 chicken tenders, something to, get food in their stomach. The one day that we did not, Benjamin was when we picked him up to take him to the show, he was like, I'm so hungry. Amy had to run down and get a Pop-Tart from the room for him. We had popcorn, but he has expanders on the roof of his mouth, and he's not allowed to have popcorn, so he could not eat the popcorn. But so she went down and grabbed him a Pop-Tart because we forgot to feed him first dinner. He was in kids club like the whole time, and we never pulled him out for it. So that we had to take care of. But that was the only issue with late dinner, was one day that we forgot to feed him early. He was hungry by the show. Otherwise, I think it went pretty well. Late dinner was okay. We now know that we can survive late dinner if we have to. But I still think we prefer early dinner. Boys,
Yeah.
Which dinner did you prefer? Early dinner, like on the Wonder, or late dinner, like on the Fantasy?
I don't know. Late dinner on the Fantasy.
Because you got to go to kids club from dinner?
Yeah.
How about you, James?
Early dinner probably because the first dinner filled me up kind of a bunch.
Like going and getting
Early dinner.
chicken tenders and stuff
Yeah, and then I want to eat all my food early.
at the main dinner?
I also got tons of magic tricks this time. I don't know if he would have gone as much.
That's a good point. I don't know if you just heard Amy. She said that he got to see a lot more magic tricks this time. And I think it's because since there was no meal after hours, the dining staff wasn't really as rushed to try to get through everything. Because there was nothing after us. Whereas on the first dinner, they have to be thinking about second dinner in the back of their minds as they're quickly going through everything. Kian spent a lot more time doing card tricks at our table, whereas Angela, the assistant who was in charge of the entertainment on the Wonder, would just check by and set up some crayon things and then walk away. And Kian did the crayon things too, but he also would spend sometimes 5 straight minutes just at our table doing card tricks and things. And so, I do feel like we got a bit more attention on this one. And I don't know if it was because of the wait staff or if it was because of second dinner. I don't know. But Kian was just amazing. Kian was awesome. When they asked for cast compliments in the guest survey at the end of the cruise, they said, is there any cast members that you want to call attention to? I put 2 people down. I said Quint from Houston, Texas, because I put it like that because that's how he introduced himself every time. Quint as part of the entertainment team, and Kian, one of our assistant server, because Kian was just phenomenal with the children, phenomenal overall with us, just so great. Big shout out to him. If you guys have been on the Fantasy in the last couple of months, this is his first contract. So I think he's been on the Fantasy for a couple of months now. But if you have been on the Fantasy and you have had Kian, give me a shout out down in the comments. I want to know if what you thought of Kian. We loved Kian and thought he was great. And with that, I think we're going to sign out on this video. If you have any additional questions and comments, things that you want us to answer, as always, you can drop those in the comments below. We are happy to help you plan your Disney cruise vacations, Disney World vacations, Disneyland vacations, Disney Aulani vacations. We just want to be your one-stop shop for your Disney planning. And if you do want to book a Disney cruise, I highly recommend booking through Getaway Today. You can click the link down in the description. You will get approximately 5% back in onboard credit. I say approximately because they do it in terms of $1,000 to $2,000 is $50. And then $2,000 to $3,000 is $100. This was a $6,300 cruise, so we got $300 back, or not back, but as onboard credit, which was really nice, just to be able to buy stuff on the ship and know that we have that gift card money available. Now, there are other places that you can book where you'll get a little bit more credit, like through Costco, but they're going to give you the credit in terms of a Costco gift card. And while technically it's money is money, right? I kind of like the idea of it being onboard credit. It's like you get a Disney gift card. A little bit less value, but you can use it on the ship for souvenirs and all that sort of stuff. Whereas a Costco gift card, you can only use at Costco. So it's like, do you want grocery money or do you want fun money? I want fun money. That's just my opinion. So book with Getaway Today if you want some onboard credit on your Disney cruise. But, Again, if you got questions, drop them in the comments below. Always happy to answer them. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. And if you have missed the first couple of videos in this series going back to when we traveled from Walt Disney World, you can click right here to check out that video. And if you did not see our Disney Wonder Cruise, we have 4 videos. You can click the first video right here to start on that series as well. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again next time.